Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime, site super moderator for Avatar The Last Airbender Online.com and also the main host of the Avatar Online podcast. And I'm here today to present to you my first Korra Book 2 Spirits episode review. This one's going to be for K201 Rebel Spirit, the first episode of Book 2 Spirits. I'll be doing I'm recording the Southern Lights review immediately after this, and I'm going to try and get them up as soon as possible. So yeah, let's get into this. This is actually my second time trying to record this video. The first time I did it, I went way too long, way too long, because this is just meant to be kind of my first initial reactions. I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes, that sort of thing. And then on the podcast, which I'm going to be recording the Rebel Spirits podcast later on today, that's where I get my full thoughts on the episode. So I kind of went crazy in depth in the video before. So I'll just start with the overall really good opening. Really good opening to Book 2, and it's just amazing to have Korra back on television again. That's the first thing. I thought it was a really high quality start. Worth the wait, definitely. The main issue I think people had going into this would be new animation studio. What is that going to be like? And I was perfectly fine with it. I didn't really notice any issues that much. I could tell it was a slightly different style, mainly in the way the faces were done. You could sort of tell that this was an anime studio first and foremost, kind of trying to do this more Western Avatar style. So you could sort of tell in the faces, but for the most part, it was actually really solid. I think Mir are definitely a higher quality studio, but Piero did an excellent job, I think, overall. And I know there's probably going to be GIFs and images all over the internet about how there's errors and stuff like this, but I think the quality is fine, and unless you do those direct comparisons, like get up Welcome to Republic City and directly compare model to model, screenshot to screenshot against Piero, it's not going to look that bad. But if you do that, it probably will look very different. But again, think about that. Why would you ever watch the two episodes side by side at the same time? Anyway, into the episode itself. Since this is an initial reaction, overall, kind of coming out, I was just like, okay. The main idea here was that Korra found out she's been lied to for 13 years by her father and by Tenzin, and is rightfully mad about this. And this was revealed to her by Unlog, who is trying to become her spiritual teacher for his own goals or something like that. He's saying that he just wants to help her, and he wants to help the sect become spiritually more spiritual. But you can definitely tell there's something more going on with Unlog, especially as we go into Southern Lights. But I think that ultimately is the main crux of the episode, that reveal and how Korra reacts to it and how Unalaq uses it. I think I haven't really seen much reaction to the episode because I've stayed away from it just to record this video as just my thoughts. But I assume people are kind of going a bit mad about Korra, the way Korra reacts to this in the episode. I personally have no problem with it because I think it is a huge thing for Korra to find out that, for, as I said, 13 years she's been lied to by her father and her spiritual teacher. The reason she doesn't have any friends, the reason that she doesn't have much freedom for all that time, is because of this decision. She could have understood it, I think, if it was actually Aang's decision, and she did until she made the decision to go and Welcome to Republic City, and that was fine. But finding out that it wasn't, that it was just her father and mentor being overly protective. And then there's this issue of were they being protective, which is good, or were they being overly protective / sheltering her, which is the kind of bad side of that. She has to develop as a person to be a good avatar, and because of this she kind of missed out on a few things. So I think that's going to be addressed a little bit more as we go along, but I definitely understand that it's a huge thing for her, and while she did overreact and definitely came across as really kind of mean to some people, especially Mako and Tenzin and Tonrock, it was understandable because of the magnitude of this reveal. So that was good, and I like that. And then as the episode kind of went on, she became more and more interested in what Unalaq had to say, because he was the only one who could handle the spirits. Korra, even in the Avatar state, couldn't do anything, and it was only Unalaq coming in using his amazing kind of waterbending, hypnotizing spirit power that's unnamed and or not explained. He's the one who manages to get it off by using spirituality, and it's just this perfect demonstration to Korra that, I can do this, they can't, I'm the one you want to be your spiritual teacher. You're not going to learn how to do this at the air temples with Tenzin, you're only going to learn this with me. And then, because it's so convenient that this one spirit arrived just at that time where he needed to kind of make it clear to Korra that she knew this, kind of like, how much of this is being orchestrated by Unalaq for this goal? I think this is something I'll talk about more in Southern Lights review, but he seems to be orchestrating this whole thing, that a lot of this is down to him, but I'm not sure. There's definitely this kind of back and forth, like, is he good, is he bad, or is he just somewhere in between? I'm not sure, but I like his character. Unalaq is really interesting. Just the brother conflict set up with Tonrock, and there's something there which is explored in the Southern Lights. And then, in this episode, what you get of that is just, he comes off the boat, the two are kind of staring at each other, and he's just like, Tonrock, brother, and they're just like staring each other like daggers. And it's this perfect scene of like, there's history here, stuff's gonna go down, and it was really well done. So, and then like with Korra, you have her constantly throughout the episode using the fact that she has Mako as her boyfriend now, and she's not going to like Tenzin for advice, she's going to him for advice. So I like that they did that. Really, really like that they did that. And that it shows how like well they work together, and that, Mako really came out of his shell. He was telling her his one-liners, she was loving them. She told her she told him which ones to use, and he was loving it. And then Mako had to help Korra with the advice, basically helping her make these decisions. And he kind of had to just straddle this line, because she was in such a kind of mood over this whole thing that, the first time he went too far on Tenzin's side. The second time he didn't say really anything to her. And then the last time he's like, trust yourself, I'm not good at this advice thing. You need to trust yourself, and I trust you will make the right decision. And he just, that perfect blend of supportiveness at the end. So I like where they're going with the relationship, that they are actually like communicating well, stuff like that. So that's good. I think that's enough on Korra and that sort of stuff. So the other side of the story really is, I suppose, Asami and Varric. This is fairly interesting. I really wonder where exactly they're going with it, because I like Varric as a character. He's really interesting, especially the back and forth that he has with Bolin, because while Bolin and Varric are quite similar characters, Bolin also realizes that Varric is kind of way more eccentric than he is. So when he sees the guy levitating, rather than going in on that, he's like, "What are you doing?" And then he's the only one among all of Varric's associates who actually just calls him out on it and says, you didn't levitate. He's surrounded by yes men and women, and I like that. I really did, and he likes the fact that Bolin just tells it like it is and praises Asami for bringing him here as her assistant. And ultimately, I think it is Bolin who gets the deal for Asami. Which is, it's just nice, setting up the fact that he may get into business in some weird way, and that he definitely has this friendship with Varric from this episode. And then Asami, clearly is really trying to get Future Industries back on track, get away from the way her father ran the business and run it herself. She's inexperienced, I think, which is why she brought Bolin with her for backup, but in the end I think it's going to work out for her. They're definitely setting up Varric as something more than just this comedy character, because at the dinner they have for the feast they have for Unalaq, he talks about, you know, the South has just become this place for people who are like wealthy and greedy, and they cut immediately to Varric not paying any attention to the speech, picking his teeth in like a silver like plate. I'm just like, I can sort of see a little conflict that they're setting up here, that there's like, you know, like hates Varric because of he kind of represents what's bad about the South in his opinion. So there's some nice stuff with him, I think, coming down the line, more serious on the side of things. Boleyn's being set up reasonably well with the whole Varric friendship, helping Asami, and then with the Eska shipping stuff, which I thought was hilarious. Just, I think it's her. It's definitely Eska and delivery from her voice actor, and the support by Desmond that works so well, because she's just so blunt, so cutting with everything she says. He's just trying to like ask her out, and then she just doesn't know what he's saying, because he does this whole Boleyn thing of not really getting to the point, and he's just like, I think he's trying to establish a bond with you based on your geographical point of reference, and it's just like, oh, it's just like, this could be quite interesting, and she said, I will make you mine. And then he's like, as a slave or boyfriend? And she's just like, yes. She doesn't say yes to either one, she's like, both. And just drags him off. You will win me prizes. So that's going to be interesting to see. Does it actually develop into a relationship? Because I'd actually really like it for it just to be her to kind of just think of Boleyn as this experiment of kind of going out with someone who's quite simple, compared to like her. She's all like royalty and stuff like that. She just sees him as the simple guy who doesn't know all this stuff. And I'd like to actually see her suddenly really develop feelings for him, because I think it would be an interesting turn for her character. But I don't know how soon they go about doing that. And then we get some stuff with the family, a Katang family. We see some Boomy, some Kaya, which is nice. We don't really get that much on either of them, but what you do get is the sibling relationship between the three. They pick on Tenzin because he's the youngest. Boomy's definitely wilder than Kaya. Kaya's kind of the middle child, is very balanced. But other than that, you don't get too much. They like to tease Tenzin, and they want to go with him on the trip to the air temples with his family. And they have to use their mother to kind of go along with it, which was nice. That Katara is still kind of heavily involved in this family. And then we get the kind of like foreshadowing of Katara's death, almost. The way it came out of nowhere. Like, is this just Katara's kind of old age, kind of hope speech, kind of sort of thing, where she's like, this could be you have to spend time with your family, and it's just like, I kind of, like, in the subtext I'm reading, like, I don't have that long left to live, almost. As the three go off, they leave her behind, Tenzin goes back to hug her, she kind of watches as they go off, and just like, is she gonna die? Because you know, there's the Aunt Wu thing, but it's great-grandchild and not just grandchild, so they'd said, I think that's almost setting up that she's still gonna live a bit longer. I'm not sure. I think it was just maybe worded a little bit, like, too kind of in that direction where you could actually think that, but for the most part it's fine. So I'm going to end it here before, I've probably gone on way too long already, but yeah, overall really, really solid episode to start the season. So thanks for watching. Southern Lights review, I'll be recording immediately after this, and Rebel Spirits podcast later today, Southern Lights podcast tomorrow. So thanks for watching, bye.